Gene, to your seat, please. Gene.
Wow.
Gene, to your seat. Please put your tray in the upright position. We're about to take off. Call to order, September 19, 2024, meeting 7:30. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Greathouse. Aye. Councilor Steer.
Here.
Councilor Burlingame.
Here.
Councilor Arnold.
Here.
Councilor Worthy.
Here, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almost did it.
Right on pace. All right, open forum.
Dave Plant.
Dave Plant.
Yes.
Do you,
You want to read the letter first?
well, once we get to
On the
it.
correspondence?
Yeah. Once we get to it, then we'll go back. Okay. Town council citation, employee years of service. Council has a citation for a 33-year-old employee who is about to retire. Together, we thank the tax collector, Jane Steer. State of Rhode Island Town of Gloucester citation, Jane Steer, for 33 years of service to the town of Gloucester, given with deep gratitude and appreciation for your years of service to our town as you retire. You have served the town of Gloucester with your experience, integrity, patience, and kind spirit to all. We appreciate your commitment and acknowledge your service to our community. We promise in your honor we will do our best to keep tax collection rate high. The Town Council wholeheartedly represents all your fellow employees and our residents when we say thank you. We wish you much enjoyment in your new endeavors in your retirement. Councilor William A. Worthy, President. Councilor Steve W. Arnold, Vice President. Councilor Jonathan E. Burlingame. Councilor Cheryl A. Greathouse. Councilor Walter M. O. Steer III. And Jean M. Fecto, CMC Town Clerk. Adopted this 19th day of September 2024. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I'd just like to say a couple of words too, because, you know, that said a lot for Jane, but Jane went above and beyond on numerous occasions, especially over the last few years, and she really, how do I wanna say this? Saved our bacon, in a lot of different ways because of the roles she was able to fill in for, when we didn't have someone there, so. Deep debt of gratitude we have to what Jane's done for the town, not just over the 33 years, but especially over the last few. So just want to thank her for that.
Agreed. She
Agreed.
took one for Team Glocester big time when she could have retired 2 years ago. So sincere gratitude to Jane Steer and best wishes.
Best wishes.
All right, consent items, discussion, interruption. Approval of town council minutes, regular meeting September 5, 2024, and special meeting of August 19, 2024. B, tax assessors additions and abatements, August 2024. C, finance director's report, August 2024. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the town council regular minutes of September 5th and the special meeting minutes of August 19th, 2024. To approve the additions to the 2024 tax roll in the amount of $1,554.79 and the abatements to the 2024 tax roll in the amount of $1,362.44 and to accept the finance director's report for August 2024.
Get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes. New business, ARPA update, status reports, discussion, interaction. Karen Scott has worked on the update for council. Anything you wanna?
Sure. No, sure. Yeah, sure. So we've been working with together with certainly Karen, our planner, finance director Beth, and each and every department head, identifying where we are with different balances, projects. Where are we? Are we waiting for more invoices? So it's sort of, it's been a fluid update. We did identify several small ticket items, but several nonetheless that we should be able to have on the agenda for the next council meeting, of areas where we may be able to de-obligate some unspent funds. And I appreciate everybody's time and energy, and department heads getting back to us on what's been used and what doesn't need to be used. I don't know if you have any.
I think the only thing I would add to that is, the only thing I would add is that the deadline to have the money obligated is the end of this year. And why is that important? We have till 2026 to spend it. We have to obligate it by 2024. And once it's obligated in the category, as of January 1st, 2025, it has to be spent where it's obligated. So we want to make sure that by the end of this year, every single penny of this money is in a line item that we know we're going to spend it on, or move it into one we know we're going to spend it on. So I think that's why we're going to spend a lot of time. We'll probably have this on the agenda almost every time until the end of the year to make sure that we spend every cent we have.
Thank you.
One of the encouraging things as we reviewed all of these expenditures here with the ARPA funds is how much return we got through matches with the state, et cetera, on the dollars that were invested here, so.
Okay. So ARPA funds, number one, obligated funds, 50,000 from project 14, dam repairs improvements. Discussion?
I'll make a motion to remove from the table the de-obligation of $50,000 from project number 14, dam repairs and improvements.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Two, obligate ARPA funds, 25,000 to project 31, Sanssouci appraisal, project discussion interaction.
So where's 25.7 coming from now if we didn't de-obligate?
There's 25.7 there from unobligated funds that we can use for this.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to obligate ARPA funds in the total of $25,700 to project number 31, Sanssouci appraisal project.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Three, obligate ARPA funds, 24,000 towards purchase of a first line police vehicle.
I'll make a motion to table the obligation of $24,000 towards purchase of a first line police vehicle to the October 4th meeting.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. New business, personnel discussion interaction. Number one, tax collector ratification of appointment. After interviews, the town council voted in executive session August 19th, 2024 to make an offer to Lori A. Caspoli for the position of tax collector. Ms. Caspoli has accepted the offer and council must ratify the appointment. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to appoint, effective September 9th, 2024, Lori Caspoli to the position of tax collector at an annual salary of $70,000, which will increase to $72,000 upon successful completion of a 6-month orientation period. Said position will accrue 3 weeks, 15 days vacation leave per year for the first 5 years of employment and 4 weeks, 20 days per year effective on the 5th employment anniversary. Said position requires successful completion of the Rhode Island Tax Collector Certificate Program within 3 years of appointment.
Okay, a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Authorization for signature municipal technical assistance program grant, zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations, assistance, extensions of grant agreement, discussion, interaction. Council has received a request from the town planner. 2 town council members from Karen Scott, town planner, September 16, 2024, request for signature, grant agreement. Town received a municipal technical assistance program grant from the Rhode Island Housing for $100,000 for assistance in updating the town zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations to come into compliance with legislation passed by the General Assembly in 2023. This work is currently underway with the assistance of Weston and Sampson. The request before Town Council is authorization to extend the grant agreement with Rhode Island Housing. It expires on October 30th, 2024. The extension will give the town until April 30th, 2025 to complete the project. According to the consultant, this is sufficient time to complete the project. There is no change to the scope of work or budget associated with the project. This grant requires no cash contribution from the town.
I'll make a motion to extend the grant agreement authorized on November 2023 between Rhode Island Housing, Weston and Sampson Engineers, Inc., Statement of Work number 10 for the Municipal Technical Assistance Program grant for assistance in updating the town's zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations to April 30th, 2025.
Take a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Ratification of Town Council discussion interaction, Code Red contract between Town of Gloucester and Onsalt LLC. The chief is signing the Code Red contract from Onsalt LLC for another year of Code Red services. Council needs to ratify. Can I get a motion?
Motion to ratify the Code Red contract entitled Order Form between Onsolve LLC and the Town of Glocester for the period of 1 year commencing service start date October 2, 2024.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The authorization of Town Council for signature contract awards. Number 1, propane contract between Town of Gloucester and Quality Propane. Council received a recommendation from the Finance Director. Memo Honorable Town Council from Elizabeth Beltram, Finance Director. Read contract with new propane supplier. Date September 19th, 2024. At the request of the DPW Director, Gary Tremmel, I am requesting council approval and signature of the attached agreement with Quality Propane for propane services to the town starting October 1st, 2024. The switch to the new company is based on information provided by Mr. Tremmel, which I have reviewed with him and also is attached in council's packet. Respectfully, Elizabeth A. Beltram, Finance Director. Can I get a motion?
Motion to grant a contract between Quality Propane and the Town of Gloucester for propane at 24 cents per gallon per Celtic terminal price. Said contract to run 9/30/24 to 9/30/25 with the opportunity for a 12-month extension at that time.
Okay, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 2, FY 2022 State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program. Multi-factor authentication between RIEMA and Town of Gloucester. Discussion interaction. Matt Floor, IT Director, and Jerry Mosca, EMA Director, have received a grant in the amount of $45,000 with no local match for multi-factor authentication. Council must now agree to the terms and conditions as outlined in the special grant conditions, assurances, and reporting requirement guidelines. These assurances and requirements set forth by the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, to ensure compliance with federal and state regulations. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to authorize town council president to sign the assurances as set forth by the Department of Homeland Security to secure the fiscal year FY 2022 State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program, SLCGP, multi-factor authentication, MFA-13-06A-2022 SLCGP grant in the amount of $45,000 with no local match from the Rhode Island Emergency Management Agency to the Town of Gloucester.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
D, Gloucester Code of Ordinance and Comprehensive Plan. 1, proposed amendments related to housing and land use, discussion or action. Town planner has submitted the following information to council. 2 council members from Karen Scott, Town Planner, date September 17th, 2024. Read proposed amendments to the Gloucester Code of Ordinance related to the housing and land use. Town of Gloucester, along with Rhode Island municipalities, are required to amend their local land use regulations in response to enabling legislation that has been passed in 2023 and 2024 by the General Assembly. The Planning Board has been working diligently and has finalized amendments to the following sections of our ordinances and our regulations. Number 1, zoning ordinances. Definitions, notifications, modifications, variances, development plan review, unified development review, adaptive reuse, substandard lots of record, comprehensive permits for low and moderate income housing. 2, subdivision regulations. Certificate of completion, minor subdivision and land development project, major subdivisions, design requirements, unified development review, administration, appeals, definitions, development plan review, procedures. Number 3, comprehensive plan, growth centers. The planning board worked with Weston Sampson, a consultant we hired using a municipal technical assistance grant to draft the language. In all the sections that are amended, we attempted to maximize public participation and public notice in compliance with the new legislation. The planning board has begun the process of moving these amendments throughout the approval process on the following schedule. Number 1, zoning ordinance amendments. A, first reading before town council on 10/17/24. B, advisory opinion before planning board on 11/12/24. C, public hearing before the town council on 11/21/24. 2, comprehensive plan amendments. A, first reading before town council on 10/17/24. B, advisory opinion before planning board on 11/12/2024. C, public hearing before town council on 11/21/24. 3, subdivision regulations. A, notice and request for input from the town council on 10/17/24. B, public hearing before the planning board 11/12/24. I just wanted to make the town council aware of these upcoming changes and hearings. I'm happy to answer any questions related to this information and the memo. That's a lot of changes coming up, huh?
Yeah, that's an exceptional amount of changes coming up. The changes that passed the General Assembly in 2023 were the most significant changes we've had to our land use regulations in like 30 years or more. And this is just the first chunk. We'll be coming through with at least 2 more phases of this, but this is the initial one. A lot of what the legislation did is took away the requirements to notify the public for a lot of things, and so what we've tried to maximize is to continue to notify the public, and wherever we can, keep that public notice, keep those public hearings to let people know what's going on. I think that's the key to anything that we do in town, and so, you know, with the changes in the legislation, they've made a lot more things administrative, but where we could, we maximized. That was our goal throughout this whole process, is to continue to have as much public input as we can.
Okay. So this is like a red flag for everybody that's wondering what's happening with our town and how the state wants to basically take away our rights as a small community. So everybody should be very aware of what's happening with that. 2, set the reading date, discussion, interaction. If council agrees with schedule, a first reading can be set for the proposed ordinance amendments and the comprehensive plan amendments. Can I get a motion on that, please?
Motion to set the first readings for the town council meeting of October 17, 2024, to introduce the proposed ordinance amendments related to legislative changes of 24/2023 and /2024.
Second?
Second.
You have something to add to that? Okay.
All right, legislative updates. Oh, sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Legislative updates, discussion, or action. Does anyone have any legislative news or questions?
Not right now.
So everybody's aware that Ernie Almonte is going to be stepping down from City of Leeds and Towns, and the old manager, town manager of Smithfield is going to be taking that position. Randy Rossi. I have actually spoke to him. He is going to be trying to protect small towns. It'd be interesting to see the pressures that he's going to face. Let's see. Town council correspondence and discussions. Council received correspondence from the fire district last meeting, and tonight we will read it to the record. July 10th, 2024. Greetings, members of respective fire districts, Gloucester Town Council. As a dedicated member of the Harmony Fire District Board and a lifelong resident of Gloucester who proudly served this community for 45 years as a volunteer with Harmony Fire Department, I'm compelled to address an issue which is becoming critical. This issue is affecting our community. The present fire district operating systems, which have served Gloucester for the past century, are becoming outdated and no longer adequately meet the needs of our growing community. In today's fast-paced world, relying solely on volunteers, paid or on-call members to staff our departments has become increasingly challenging. The demands of the profession have grown exponentially, and it is unreasonable to expect volunteer, paid on-call members to work under such conditions for limited compensation. Our community is at risk. I am urging the 3 fire districts in Gloucester, along with the town council, to initiate discussions to explore options that will best address the emergency responses needed for the Gloucester citizens. As our population has grown, the need to robustly staff EMS units has become evident, not only in Harmony District, but across the entire town. Additionally, the issue of townwide fire suppression needs to be included in this discussion. A limited or delayed response could lead to tragic consequences. Any casualty, be it citizen or emergency responder, due to insufficient resources is unacceptable. This problem is not unique to Gloucester or even to Rhode Island. Across the country, number of volunteer paid on-call personnel has declined significantly over the last several decades for various reasons. We must proactively address these issues to best serve our town in the future. One option I propose is to merge the 3 separate fire districts into a single unified fire district for all of Gloucester. By consolidating our resources, there can be more effectively distributed to meet the needs of our citizens and our emergency responders. Despite the long history of utilizing separate districts within the town, it is imperative we implement changes to ensure that the residents of Gloucester are always protected and cared for in their time of need. Respectfully, David G. Plant, Harmony Fire District Commissioner. And a memo.
Just a comment on that. Thank you for a well thought out letter here to the council. I certainly, there certainly seems to be a need to maximize efficiencies, and and that is not taking a dig or being critical of anybody who volunteers with our town, but I'm excited to get the band united, so to speak. So
Have you guys had meetings with all 3 districts at this point?
Oh, if you want to come up, David.
We've attempted several times. We seem to be getting nowhere, like spinning on wheels.
Is it with
Either
one
not
district?
interested in talking, or they think the system that we have in place is functioning, which it's not.
Is it one district in particular, or all?
As far as the people in Harmony, and the moderator is sitting here, and so is another member of the district, but we're all about unifying, because we want to better utilize the resources we got.
And we have Chepachet and West, and neither of those want to?
Well, as of right now, the only truck that's staffed EMS in the town of Glocester right now is the Rescue 2 in Harmony. So what's been happening over the last 6 months, after midnight, that truck is leaving that station and going as far as almost to the Connecticut line. That's a 14-minute response. I don't think that's acceptable. And as far as the fire side, I don't know who has a scanner in this building who listens to fire calls. But some days at 10 o'clock in the morning, they can send out all 3 districts for a report of a building fire. You might get 2 trucks with 4 people.
So I guess my question more is, so when you've contacted, say, West Gloucester, Chepachet, they fall on deaf ears, they don't want to talk about it?
Well, they seem to want to kick the can down the road. I'm not sure what the problem is. I don't know if they don't want to give up their kingdom. And I'm not here to take anybody's kingdom. I'm just here to make this operation operate better and more efficiently. We all pay fire taxes, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think we're getting the service we deserve for what we pay.
What can the town council do to help?
Maybe you people can motivate those people to sit down and talk.
So we sent out a letter from the
Yes,
council.
It's just a matter of
And
coordinating schedules, that's what it's been up to this point. Because we do want to have that discussion with them.
we sent a letter to, I'm sure you saw our letter, because it was
I've seen several.
yeah, saying we need to,
And I've tried to respond as quickly as possible, and apparently there's not much,
oh yeah, I appreciate
there's
your,
not much cooperation from the other sides, correct?
Correct. But I'm hopeful that with summer being over, even if I can just get 2 of the board members from each,
That'd be a start.
right,
I'd hate to see some kind of a tragedy happen where someone is killed or died. You know, we have houses now that are valued at $1 million in this town or more. If their house is on fire at 2 in the morning and mommy runs out in the front yard and says to the first 2 fire truck with 2 guys on it, my kids are on the 2nd floor, we got a problem. And I'm not saying we have to go fully paid. I'm not saying that one bit. I'm just saying we gotta come up with solutions. Even if we just brainstorm solutions, fix the problem.
Well, I'm sure, as a lot of people know, there's been a lot of calls over the summer.
I'll tell you right now, there are some nights, 3 rescues are dispatched for 1 victim.
Right.
And it's probably something simple.
Right.
Or it could be major, like the police officer was just given a commendation for last week.
Right.
The
It's just
rest-
not a coordination of efforts, I mean, like, if you're sending, each department sending a rescue for one accident, it's not really.
Well, the problem is there's such limited manpower now, there's a directive, and I'm sure the police chief can probably back me up on this, that they have a notification at the dispatch office to send 2 rescues. So to make sure somebody gets there. Am I correct, chief? So if you get anything like difficulty breathing, diabetic emergency, they're sending 2 trucks. And sometimes a 3rd truck has to go to intervene because the truck that's getting there is not staffed to the level that they need to start an IV on. It's a problem we all have to address. If we work together as a community, I think we come up with a problem. And I assume the town does not want to take over the fire departments.
No.
Note the record, town clerk, that they all shook their heads no. Thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
good point.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, sir.
I gotta say 2 things. One thing that's happening, the state, again, these kids go to, used to be a middle level here with the cardiacs. They want to abolish that program, so you go from basic to paramedic. Well, the kid's gonna go to old school for paramedic, gonna get a job somewhere. You know, it's multi-hours to get, well, we had the nice cardiac level, the state, again, had to interfere with that. And the thing is, the letter that Jeannie sent out, we did get 1 response, so, but the chair of the Chepachet Fire District, he responded right away. He said almost every date on that calendar, he did respond right away in his defense, so.
So do you have any way of contacting the chair of West, or board member there? Have you tried to communicate to them, like, separate?
I can give him a call, yeah, get him.
All right.
You
Give him a call.
know,
See if,
you know, he's around, but I don't know why he didn't answer your letter right away, you know? You know, original correspondence you
Yeah.
sent out. She sent it out right away, boom, bang, right out, and that response from, like I said, the chair across the street, he responded right away, so. That was the only other than mine.
Now, I'm working on just getting a date and then just tell everybody that's when it is.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
From that,
That's
and then that's it.
perfect.
But that other level, like I said, that cardiac, I don't know why the state in their infinite wisdom got rid of that cardiac level. That was fine for most places, you know, and the ones that's cardiac now, I guess they can recertify, if I'm not mistaken, but the new kids, they can't go to cardiac, they go to basic and they have to go, if you're gonna go to paramedic school, you're gonna pursue a career that requires you, you're not gonna hang around, let's face it. Although we have picked up a couple more, I don't know about across the street, we picked up a couple more for the rescue that are career firefighters. They're looking for an extra day or an extra night, which is helping out right now. And we have picked up a 2 or 3 that are working a couple days in Chepachet, a couple days down here, and maybe 1 more Glocester. So it's starting to maybe, a little push maybe to be more positive. I think it's gonna be positive, it's gonna take a little while to get him
We
going.
need to continue focus on the urgency of
Well, the
starting
other
this
thing is too,
conversation is really,
you know, we have
take it from there.
the 3 chiefs now meeting regularly, so maybe they can,
talk to their board members
Oh.
and get them,
yeah, that's.
You really need the boards together to, because again, you guys are your own
I mean,
taxing authority and your own,
Entities, their own
your own entities. So
that's handy, these 2 chiefs are around all day long, so they can really get
Yeah.
together, you know, so, and it's work, it's happening, so.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
George.
Thanks.
Thank you to the leadership of Harmony as well.
Well, I've got something for just general council discussion. If, you know, we've been talking about this really since, you know, for the last 3.5 years I've been here. Spent a ton of time in the finance department again today, going through things, going through opera funds. And once again, the whole our town finance director also being the finance director, I get, and maybe I'm saying that wrong, title-wise, but for the Gloucester schools, we've all sat here and talked about how that's really 2 jobs. And I think we need to look at that again. And, you know, it was a lot, you know, if we go back, 3 finance directors, that was maybe one of the reasons where he was over-obligated. We hired previous finance director, and I think we all said, you know, this is part of the package and it's a lot, but it's on our radar. So we have a new finance director who's doing an incredible job, and it's more than one job. And you know, we've got every department head in this town works on their own budget, brings it to the budget board, make sure it's balanced, make sure they have their needs and their operations covered, what can go, what can't go. There's obviously always hard choices we have to make, department heads have to make, and then it gets to our town finance director, and that's sort of for final approval. It's for a second set of eyes, proofread, make sure there's no errors, this kind of thing. But our finance director is not creating the budget for the chief of police, for example, or you know. And I think not only would it be beneficial for a finance director, because there's only so much time in the day and so many Saturdays and this kind of thing. I think it also might help our schools really look harder when they're more involved in the process of every, I mean, we were talking about office supplies 2 years ago, you know, at the deadline. And so if it's not, there's a little more, really know how to say that, if there's a little more thought in the building of the budget as opposed to having somebody who's got a whole other set of responsibilities to do this for, it may wind up being more efficient, better for them as well. So I just kind of wanted to, I know we've talked about it, I know it's not a perfect world, there's clearly, there would be some challenges with that, but right now we have a superintendent and an assistant superintendent. And, you know, I don't know, I just wanted to kind of put this out there and get it back out on the table. It's not an agenda item, simple discussion here.
I think if you do that, you gotta hire a finance director for the school, though. You can't, a finance, like, up at the region, a finance director makes the budgets, they present them, you know, they get input from other department heads. The school probably has, I don't know if it has more employees in the town itself, I'm not sure.
It has a lot more employees than.
So I don't know if the superintendents, they don't create the budget for the region either. I mean, I'd be curious how Foster does theirs, if they have their own finance director.
You know what, I would too. Who does the Foster, the elementary school? I don't know the answer to that.
Because maybe we can look at what their model is over there, but.
And it could be a part-time, and again, that's budget. But I can't imagine for 2 elementary schools, maybe it is full-time, I don't know. And again, I don't have an answer or a solution, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of reporting and stuff, because I know this was probably discussed at one point when I was on the school committee. But you know, I think you have to hire somebody of that caliber, and that's a $100,000 plus, you know, probably $120,000 job plus benefits. I don't know if you want to add that to that.
I don't think anybody wants to add that, and I agree with you. But is there a part-time? I mean, there's an annual budget. The lion's share is the line items are the same. The amounts are different. I mean, the changes in the budgets are the dollars, but not. There's still substitute teachers, busing, and I'm not trying to. I know it's complicated.
No, I think you need somebody with the same.
But if we have a superintendent and an assistant superintendent, I don't know. Maybe there's more coming from. Maybe there's less reliance on our finance director to help create the budget. I think Foster, seeing what they do, for paying is a really good idea.
It might work, because again, you know, you saw the struggle we went through trying to find a finance director. Now, try to find a part-time finance director.
Right.
See the struggle is gonna be to do that.
Yeah, no,
That was the biggest dilemma I had when I was on the school committee, is when we talked about it, like, it may not be a full-time job, but you gotta find somebody with that skill set that wants to do that
part-time.
part-time. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep, and that could be pie in the sky.
And there's a lot of, yeah, I was unable to do it when I was on the school committee. I mean,
Just kind of want to put it out there.
I think that's something that does need to be looked at though, because I think the model we have right now is unsustainable for our finance director. It's, to your point, Steve, it's 2 jobs. Yeah, it's 2 jobs.
As we look back, and I had to ask a lot of questions on the history about how did it used to go, and obviously, you know, it was simpler. But if you go back a handful of finance directors, I mean, it sounds to me, and then when you look at the charter, it's really sort of gray. It's not, and shame on me running under the assumption that this is black and white in the charter as far as who does what. But it was sort of inherited by a previous finance director, and that's sort of just how it's been. And that's my understanding for the last 20 years. And I just think it's just an awful lot. How you find a part-time finance person, I have no idea. How you find money to pay somebody part-time, and you're right, and nobody's got an appetite for another high-dollar job. I just wanted to maybe get the gears grinding a little bit. And I think maybe just finding out what Foster does, that should be easy enough to find out. See who brings it to the Foster finance director, their school budget, or is that the Foster finance director? So that'd be simple.
Say again?
I'll find out for you tomorrow.
Just food
Shoot
for
an email
thought.
afterwards, yeah, that'd be,
Does the
curious.
region do it for them?
No, the region is not, the region has their own finance
Yeah,
director.
but for Foster, because I know they have, well, at least until recently, they had the superintendent being the superintendent for Foster too.
They did, but, as far as I know, at least when Bridget was up there, she did not do Foster's, she did not do Foster's budget.
So I think whoever's on the council next year, I think this is something they need to be thinking about. And I think the school committee should be thinking about this too.
And nothing's gonna change before July 1st. I don't believe, you know,
No.
so, but if we start spinning wheels and people start thinking about, I don't know. Does
Well,
it
budgets
does
are
it
starting
impact
now.
the budget?
Budgets are
Is there
starting now.
more
If-
efficiency?
If you spin the wheels, you need to, it can't, I don't think you can throw it on a principal or a superintendent to create that budget, for the school. I think it has to be a finance person. So we either continue doing it how we're doing it, or we hire another person. I mean, it's not really us.
I
The school
understand that a
committee would have to
principal,
hire
that's
another
not the school set, that's not the job. I just, you know, and it's a part-time in our finance department and not this, but either way, I just,
person. If we have some, I don't know if we have somebody with that skill set. But that's all, something like that.
All right, department head discussion.
Well, I have one thing
Sorry.
from correspondence. We had gotten a letter from the State Traffic Commission. First of all, I want to congratulate Mike Chippendale. He's now a senator in District 40, not a representative, according to the State Traffic Commission, apparently. But anyway, somebody requested, I guess he requested the installation of a flashing signal at 94 and 44. First I've heard of it, maybe, at least, if they're gonna, I'm not saying I'm against it, all I'm saying is maybe we should be notified of these things as well, not after the State Traffic Commission's gonna be doing that. So that's all I have.
Anybody else? All right, department head, report discussion, department heads.
I just want to concur with the letter and Mr. Plant said. I've been here 14 and a half years. I've seen amazing work by the fire departments. Late night, bad accidents, fires, EMS, tremendous work. Over the last couple of years, things have deteriorated for the reasons he said. And it puts a burden, the police officers, we're there, we try to get there on every rescue call, any medical call. And he's right, we do task 2 rescues at a life support call, but we're also ready to move with mutual aid whenever there's a hesitation on anybody coming out. It's just deteriorated for all the reasons he said. But when they're on, I'll take them anywhere to, the second to none. It's just, they're falling in line with some stuff we have, recruiting of police officers, and they're losing. We just lost 2 dispatchers to fire jobs. So we trained them, they were on the fire service, good young candidates that went to Smithfield and Johnston. One's a lieutenant now in the Johnston EMS. But at the end of the day, they do a great job when they're on. They're just the constraints they're under and the pressure they're under to keep the mandates and keep. This is 56 square miles. This is not like instantaneous. You're going to get someone there. So that's why we promote having our police officers there, so we can send the information back, so they and hopefully to dispatch to get the most qualified people there as fast as we can. So that's one of our goals, and we work hand in hand. But all 3 do a tremendous job when they're on. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just have one quick thing. This coming Wednesday, the 25th, I believe it is the first community meeting for the Patchett Village Septic Improvement Program, which is the grant-funded program where we are trying to work with business and property owners in the Patchett Village District to upgrade their septic systems for surface water quality and groundwater quality. So hoping to get a good turnout. If anyone's interested, welcome to come. It's going to be here at 7 o'clock. And again, it's the eligible property owners are about 125-ish that are in the village district.
Karen, question for you. Has everybody within this district been notified about a silly question, maybe, but?
Yeah, we sent, we direct mailed everybody a save the date card probably about 3.5 weeks ago, and then we direct mailed a flyer last week.
Okay.
So hopefully made it to everyone, but never hurts to say it enough times, as a reminder.
It's amazing that's coming
Thank
to
you.
fruition now. We've been working on that for
Tell me about it.
a number of years. Hello.
Hi, I just want to let you know of a few upcoming events at the Senior Center and the community. So we have a flu clinic coming up on October 7th, which is by appointment. We have a representative from LIHEAP coming, which is Low Income Heating Assistance Program. They're coming to help people fill out applications, answer questions, let them know if they're eligible. So that's October 9th from 11 to 1. We have a driver's safety course October 21st that helps participants get a discount on their auto insurance and also reinforces safe driving practices, of course. Open enrollment is beginning October 15th through December 7th, which is the time when people can make changes to their Medicare. So we have reps from Blue Cross Blue Shield coming on October 29th at 10 a.m. That would be an open discussion, not a one-on-one. They would be explaining any changes in the 2025 program. Same thing with United Health. They're coming on October 30th at 1 p.m. And that is the same sort of group setting. And then throughout open enrollment period, which is October 15th through December 7th, every single Monday we have a SHIP counselor, which is a senior health insurance program counselor who is unbiased. He looks at what your needs are and the changes in the policies, and then helps you decide what's best for you going forward. So those are Mondays throughout open enrollment, and that is by appointment only also. So if anybody has questions or wants to set up an appointment, they can call the senior center. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
work, great work, thank you.
Melissa, quick question, similar to Karen's. How are we getting the word out on that to people? Are those things on the town website, or do we have?
They're in my newsletter, which goes on
Okay.
the town website.
Okay.
Well, they will be in my October newsletter. I had saved the date for a few of the items in my September newsletter. I have the flu clinic on the reader board outside.
If we can help in any way, spread the word, sounds like some great programs.
Yeah,
Please let the
Okay.
council know if there's a way we can let everybody, you hate to hear, oh, I wish I knew that,
Right.
you know, so, great job.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
any more department heads?
Where's mine?
It's you.
I gotta read that one, right? Town clerk requests, could the council make a motion to add financial signatories for the town to the agenda for discussion? I can explain.
I'll make a motion to add financial signatories for the town to the agenda for discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
From the clerk, finance director and I discussed Jane Steer leaving on Friday, and she was concerned with the status of the signatories. This should have been on an agenda item, but it was too late. Currently, Beth and Jane are authorized signatories for the town's banking transactions. Jane's retirements will leave us with just one authorized signer, and for security reasons, we should always have at least two. We are suggested temporarily adding the deputy town clerk to the second signer while we were in the process of training a new finance department staff members. If there's a consensus to let Beth Beltram appoint Christine Matthew, deputy town clerk as a deputy treasurer council, can put on the next agenda for council ratification. This would be a temporary appointment.
I'd be okay with
Yeah.
that.
That makes sense.
Good catch.
Okay. Boards and commission reports, discussions? Come on up, Will.
Evening, council. Will Warren, Glocester Land Trust. I thought I'd stop in and kind of give you guys an update on Hawkins Pond, the high hazard dam that we own. Kind of give you the update of kind of where we are, but I just wanted to back up a little bit just to give some context, kind of where we started. So as you all probably know, in 2019, the Land Trust commissioned PAR Engineering to do an evaluation of the dam, identify substandard areas, and come up with a remediation plan. The PAR reporting and the estimate at that time was in the range of $1.5 million. That was pre-COVID, inflationary numbers, so you can only imagine what that same type of repair would cost today. Fast forward to February 2023, around the same time I spoke with you last, Land Trust received an NOV violation notice from Rhode Island DEM Dam Safety Division. Basically, the spillway, which is kind of the waterfall that goes over, one of the training walls had collapsed, putting it in an unsafe condition. As part of the NOV, DEM required an inspection of the spillway to understand what is the condition today, and then a plan to remediate the spillway. So in doing that, we hired GZA, which is a renowned engineering firm when it comes to hydrology and dam safety. They inspected the spillway. They determined that the training wall is not an immediate health and human safety concern, but it would absolutely need to be repaired. We also commissioned them to put together a preliminary plan as to what the spillway repair would look like. So they've completed that work months and months ago. We'd submitted that preliminary drawing to DEM. In conversation with DEM, basically what we heard was, this looks great, however, we have to let you know that our regulations are about to change, and we can't tell you if this design would be sufficient, so to say. So we poked and prodded a little bit to understand that a little bit further. They really couldn't provide us answers other than things are changing. We tried to have the conversation, okay, well, if you approve this design and we make the repair, are we grandfathered? Are we good? Are you gonna come back out and say we need a different spillway design? They really weren't able to answer that question. So we kind of went back and we tried to understand, okay, you're not telling us what these regulation changes are, where can we find them? So what we've done is we looked at, there's FEMA guidance documents as well as Army Corps of Engineers. And what you find there is for any dam that is of high hazard classification, they have a prescriptive description of what the size and shape of the spillway should be. So today, the spillway is about 44 feet, 43, about there. Any high hazard spillway, if you go prescriptive route, needs to be 50 plus feet long. So off the rip, we know that the design that we submitted, it would be substandard according to those regulations should Rhode Island DEM adopt them. So with that, we did not want to pursue a dam spillway repair of that magnitude. That's a much bigger job than basically ripping down the training walls and casting new training walls in place. We'd have to widen the spillway. It'd be a whole lot more earthwork. It's just a bigger project. So what we had done, really under the recommendation of Dave DeCoste. So Dave DeCoste is a recent appointee to the Glocester Land Trust. He's an engineer. He has worked on dam safety projects for DEM in the past. He really knows what he's doing. So under the suggestion of Dave, he said, before we jump into this high hazard repair that's going to cost who knows how much money, let's take a look at the pond. Let's give it the eyeball test. And if any of you have been to Hawkins Pond, it is a tiny pond. It is a small pond. It is an earthen dam. It does have a spillway. It's in the middle of the woods. Probably a half mile away there are houses, but it is a small pond. So to consider that pond high hazard and a huge safety risk just doesn't pass the gut check. So what we agreed as the Land Trust is to let's revisit this. Let's understand the root cause, the root problem, and understand, does this dam pond really need to be classified as high hazard? Because it just doesn't feel right. So what we had done, we had interviewed a couple engineering firms to understand what was their level of proficiency in this type of exercise. And what we landed on was engaging with GZA. What's interesting is GZA is the same engineering firm that worked with the state of Rhode Island to classify all the dams in the state of Rhode Island. They're the leader in this type of engineering. So we had conversations with them and basically said that we don't agree with this assessment. And what they had told us, and kind of what's public knowledge, is when the state hired this engineering firm to assess all the dams, they did it quick and dirty. It's kind of how the engineering firm described it to us. Super conservative. They hit all the dams. They didn't have all the data. They didn't have all the topography. They just did it as quickly as they could to determine the hazard classification of the dam. So anyway, I just want to make that point because it's not like we went out and we found an engineer that's going to give us the answer that we want. We literally went back to the same engineering firm that provided the initial classification. So in that, it's been months and months of work. They've done all the hydrology. We've submitted a final report to DEM. It's very clear in the report that Hawkins Dam should not be high hazard. It should be significant hazard, which means there is not a high potential of loss of life. There is a potential for destruction of property. If it were to wash out, there is potential that the highway could see some erosion or buildings could be damaged, that type of thing, but very clear that it should be reclassified from high to significant. So that does a couple things for us. One, inspections aren't as frequent, but that's not our concern. We have to look at the dam all the time anyway. But what it does is it kicks us out of that high hazard spillway prescriptive bucket, right? So instead of having to tear out the whole spillway, extend it by 15, 20 feet, the size and the shape of the spillway stays the same. So the repair should be more manageable. So that report is with DEM. They've come back with a couple questions. We've answered the questions. We're working with the engineering firm. My expectation is if they're looking at the data and they're relying on the engineers, this dam should be reclassified. Now, I can't stand here and tell you it's absolutely going to. It's up to their judgment. But even in speaking with the engineer that did the initial assessment, they had basically said, if we had the level of data, topography, mapping, foundation heights for the residences down the road, our recommendation at that time would have been significant, not high. So I think that's pretty telling, right? So an engineering firm is going back on what they allegedly prescribed. So that report is with DEM. We anticipate a couple more rounds of questions. We have our engineers ready to answer them. So that would be good news. And I also want the council to know we're not dragging our feet on repairing this dam. It's literally like, let's back up, let's fully understand the problem so we can move from that $1.5 million figure, and just, it's a little tiny pond. It was built by farmers hundreds of years ago, like, it's gonna be okay. So we're really just kind of working to get that report and reclassification accepted. Side note, even if we're not successful in getting the hazard classification changed, right? What we've already proven through data is, so what I didn't mention is FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers have a stacking methodology to determine spillway size and shape, and that's basically using hydraulic models. So you simulate full capacity ponds, dam failures, and then you say, all right, given the size and shape of this pond, the spillway needs to be this size. And what we've learned is our spillway is perfectly sufficient in terms of size. So even if DEM comes back and says, sorry, we're not gonna let you change the classification, we have the data to suggest we do not, in fact, have to build that spillway to the prescriptive method. So, we did spend some money on engineering, but either way, it's going to be, I think, a good outcome. And really my hope is, with the help of the ARPA funds, is really manage this project within the GLT's budget. GLT has been saving for years. Steve St. Pierre has kind of made it a mission to save dollars so we can repair this dam. So our hope is, we're going to take care of the problem, not have to go to the taxpayer for any additional funds or anything like that. That's where we are today.
Thank you, Will. Thank you.
Thanks for the
A lot of
update.
work.
Yeah, appreciate all your
Team's doing a great
time
job.
and dedication.
Thank you.
Any other board commissions? Open forum. Football time? Who can make the last motion, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.